it's that time of the year to start thinking about back to school. I'm sorry to be the bearer of, I don't know, maybe it's great news. But it means our summers are sadly perhaps maybe drawing to a close. I hate to, although the weather has been way hotter this summer, I am not excited about going back to gray, dark winter. So luckily we have a nice long fall, but I'm not ready to give up my summer. So I wanted to talk today about back to school. Just those little things that hopefully help us manage and get ready and help our kiddos no matter what age they're at. So does anybody have any tips or tricks that you want to share with our parents who are listening?
I wanted to share that whenever I would go school clothes shopping, I had in my mind that I had this whole list of all these things I had to get from the beginning of the school year until the end of the school year. And financially, that was like never going to happen. And then I would be like so hard on myself, like, well, we couldn't afford to get this and couldn't afford to get that. And it made me realize, instead of being so hard on myself about that, they really need very little to get started,
Yeah.
because there's opportunities financially and like when things are on sale, like at Christmas time, to get that coat, that hoodie. They are not going to need those things. And as hot as it's been, when school starts, these guys are going to be wearing shorts. They're going to be wearing t-shirts. It's just going to be, they don't have to have every single thing that they need for the entire school year.
That's
Despite
so true.
what
No,
despite what
book
Target
bag.
tells us. Yeah.
Yeah, like a book bag and a pair of tennis shoes and like a pair of Crocs is probably enough for the beginning of the school year.
Yeah.
And right now, this is like the time to buy book bags and lunch boxes because they're all on sale. Like Old Navy's are half price right now. I ordered my boys each a book bag and lunchbox last night for half price. And Dick's online, if you look at the clearance, sneakers are on clearance at
Oh,
this time
wow.
of year too. So you can pick up. I got them each a pair of Under Armour tennis shoes for $20. So
Wow.
yeah, so now's the time to look for things that are on super sale that'll be jacked up in a month, and it's the same stuff, maybe a different color, but who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that, Melissa, because when we were younger, I think we would make a big deal about back to school shopping, our families, and it was like this massive, you had to have it all. And really, you're right. I literally went to TJ Maxx and got my youngest 3 pairs of shorts and like 2 shirts, spent like literally $30-40. And that's going to get him through August, the end of August and September. Now, all I need is a backpack, and he's good. Because he's got, my little guy was not little, but he's in a power chair. So his sneakers, he wears the same ones. They look brand new from a year ago. So, it's little steps. You don't have to buy, spend $500. You could spend $100 to just get them started and get them through. Even October, it's warm in October sometime, so yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah.
Oh, kids, I'm sorry, but a Pennsylvania thing is shorts and flip-flops into the snow. So, I was really lucky. When my kids were little, my mom gave me some advice, and I love it. She said, don't run out and buy your kids everything, because the thing that they think that they're going to like when they get to school and their friends like something else, then they're going to be like, I'm, Barbie's out, Mom. I'm not wearing, that's just, and everything that you bought them that they insisted be like Barbie, whatever theme, they get to school, no one's wearing it. And now they refuse to wear all those clothes. So she said, buy like one nice outfit for back to school day if you want. And then take each paycheck and kind of rotate which kid you would go out and buy like an outfit for. And this way they could keep up with whatever is like fashionable at the moment. And they always feel like they're getting something new. It's exciting and it's budget friendly. Chrissy, you were going to say something.
Oh, I have a core memory of this exact thing of me going into 6th grade. I switched schools and I like had to have these Vans. I wanted them so bad. And boom, they weren't in style anymore at the new school that I was going to. So I was so excited for these shoes, and then I never got to wear them because they weren't like the cool thing at the school that I switched to. So core memory of that, you are 100% on point with that.
Yeah. And so I was so glad she shared that with me because, you know, that's what you think. But I think that that's budget friendly. And again, like you guys all said, it's the weather is so nice. There's nothing wrong with them wearing like a t-shirt and stuff, you know, or whatever they had in their closet. One of my younger daughter used to get together with all of her friends. And some of the moms were a little skeptical about this in the beginning, but go through your closet, pick out anything you don't like, you don't want to wear. If it's too small on you, you know, whatever, bring it over to our house. And the girls would get together. They would pick through each other's clothes. They would put together outfits. We would do a fashion show. We'd do a fashion shoot. And then you could take back whatever you wanted. And so
That's
a lot
awesome.
of times they would take back their own clothes just with this idea of how to put an outfit together. And so,
That's
or
super
they would
cute.
like take back their own like shirt that they brought, but now they had like a cute pair of shorts or a skirt or whatever to wear with it. And the girls who were like, you know, taller or maybe a little bit more developed would give like their clothes to the girls who were smaller. And, you know, like my grandmother bought this for me and I never liked it. And a girl will be like, oh my goodness, I totally wear that. So it was a fun night for them. Like I said, we had some moms who were a little skeptical about like, why am I sending all these clothes to your house? But the girls came up with the idea on their own and just had such a blast with it that it kind of became a yearly thing.
I love it. That's
Me too.
So
awesome.
cute.
I've never heard that. That is amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
I have 3 boys, so that wasn't going to fly at our house.
Yeah,
but-
that's not going to happen in your house. I mean, you never know, guys. I'll tell you what, though. Boys nowadays are so much different than boys 10 years ago. I mean, you know, they maybe even 10 years ago, guys were concerned about, you know, what they were wearing and stuff, but didn't let us know. But nowadays,
Mhm.
you know, guys become quite the fashion plate. So yeah.
Wow, that's a great idea. I love that. And I do want to say, you know, as moms, we have to kind of ease into it too. You know, summer, you know, all of a sudden June just left us, right? June left us. It's gone. And we have to ease into it. You know, sometimes, and I do this and people think I'm a little crazy sometimes, but it'll be, I don't know, March, and I'll see something maybe that's on sale for some, you know, for that season's over, and I'm buying something, and I'll put it in the back of my closet because I know that that's going to be a summer, you know, a nice summer shirt for Levi when he goes to school, or a holiday gift. So, you know, we have to ease into it, and I do things kind of all year long. You know, if I see a sale, that's just me. I mean, you know, I try to ease into it. It's not all middle of August, we're cramming to clothe and backpack and sneakers and everything, you know, a bunch of kiddos. So I like to ease into it a little bit, but it takes a little thought.
Yeah, me too. I do a little bit at a time because I have 4 of them, and
Mhm.
you just financially have to take sales when they're there and kind of
Right.
prepare ahead. So
Right.
when
Right.
Crocs are on sale, I buy them and stick them in the closet. Book bags are on sale, so I bought them early. That kind of stuff. And I started every time I go to Sam's Club buying like an extra box of Cheez-Its or Goldfish or juice boxes just to like stick in the basement because I know that when school comes, everyone's going to need snacks and lunches, and that's
Mhm.
expensive too when you do it all at once. So break it
Oh,
down into
yeah.
smaller pieces, it becomes more manageable.
One of my things that I used to do when my kiddos were little was schedule the week of school off. That was my 1 week vacation. If I couldn't take the whole week off, definitely the day of school, because that's when your kids, like, even when my kids would be like, you know, 13 and older, and they'd get to that age, like, stop looking at me. they would still be most excited when they were leaving in the morning and when they get off the bus at the end of the day. So I wanted to make sure that I was there. How did it go? How's everything? And for me as a mom, being able to take that whole week off, I think was just kind of a nice treat. It gave me an opportunity to put my house back together. When, like from the summer, I mean, the pool was still open, the weather was still nice. We still had our like blow up pool in the backyard and stuff, but it was a great opportunity maybe for me to go into their bedrooms and like find all the like snack wrappers under the beds or, hidden somewhere, or even just they left and like I could like lay on the couch and veg out for a little while and take a break myself. But my part of my self-care was taking that week off. And I had a great group of mom friends, and we planned mom's first day of school breakfast.
Aww.
And we just had such a great time in the town where I lived. When your kids were going to school for the first time, you would put your kid on the bus and then you would drive to the school. And you would get out and you would take pictures of the kids as they're getting off the bus, and they'd all walk into their classroom and all of us moms would kind of follow and we kind of be like looking in the classroom. It was just, I don't know, maybe it was like a silly small town thing, but it was just what you did. And it was just so nice to be able to be there and do it. And so then we would all drop our kids off at school. And there was a little restaurant called Grandma's Kitchen. And we would all meet at Grandma's Kitchen and share like our first day of school pictures and like, oh, thank God I got them off the bus. But it was just, even on the days when I didn't have vacation time to take off, it was just something that I really, really, really looked forward to. And we did it, from the time my kids started school until I moved. And it was so nice to be able to then, especially if we had the day off, to go take like this nice, relaxing breakfast with my friends and catch up and stuff. So it was a really nice treat that I think we all really looked forward to. So reward yourself for making it through.
Now, we all can't take that first week of school off, though. We wouldn't have any FSPs to help our family.
Well,
now that you put that out there, Christina.
No, Melissa and I we'll pitch it for everyone. We'll cover for you.
For sure. I'm so sad that I won't have anyone in school. It's just a little bit sad.
Oh, listen, my kids
like
could
back
always
to
use
school
an
stuff.
Aunt Melissa. You can come be Aunt Melissa to my kids. They would be happy to have you.
Oh,
There we go, Melissa.
Yeah.
We're gonna run out to Washington County and we're gonna adopt some first day of schoolers.
I always made the kids homemade chocolate chip cookies for the first day of school, like always.
Yep, always.
So the girls are like, well, you could still take us shopping and make us cookies. Like there's no reason for that to stop.
We can pretend we're going to school.
The boys aren't interested in shopping, but they're like, yeah, you could still do the cookies.
Yeah,
Definitely do the cookies. Before too
Well,
long, you'll have a granddaughter going to school.
Yeah.
It goes
Oh,
really fast.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, I, as the mom of a teacher, I still am like really tempted. And as a matter of fact, I have my friend's daughter is a teacher, and she does a first day of school picture every morning, like the first day of
That's
school and the
awesome.
last day of school picture as a
So
teacher.
cute.
And so I still always have Caitlin like send me your first day of school selfie. But now that she doesn't live too far away, I'm kind of wondering, like, do you think I could talk her into, or maybe I could just sit outside her house and stalk her? And as she's kind of coming out, I could just snap some pictures of her. That wouldn't be weird at all, would it?
She needs a little sign for her first year teaching, her second year.
Yep.
That's
And
awesome.
Like one of those
Gonna have to-
chalkboards.
Yeah. I'm gonna make a whole thing out of it.
Definitely.
She doesn't
That's
know.
awesome.
So the other things other things that I think that it's really important to do is luckily I never, we didn't live in a community where they had the kids do like work over the summer. But if you live in a community where the kiddos have to do like read a book or do any kind of summer work, now is a reminder for you as a parent that you may want to mention to your kiddos, you know, how many weeks you have until school goes back, and maybe help them break those bigger projects down. So if they have like a 300-page book to read and they've got X number of weeks left, you know, if you read 5 pages a night, or if you know, even if your kiddo is older, hey, that sounds like an interesting book. Can we read it together? And I'll read it to you, or we can both listen to the audiobook. Maybe that's cheating, but you know, whatever. But if your kiddo has those lists of things that they're supposed to do over the summer, now is kind of a friendly reminder as parents that you might want to pull out that, what was it we were supposed to do again before we went back to school? Also for you parents who are the parents of freshmen, sometimes some colleges have their like freshman class. They have like a special class specifically for freshmen, and sometimes that might involve reading a book, whatever. I know your kids are graduated, they're going to college, this is kind of their own thing, but as a parent, you may want to give them some strategies, because it's hard to manage that stuff on our own.
Yeah, even being a freshman going into high school, not sometimes, almost always, they have an orientation that takes place during the summer. Before school starts. And if your child has issues with transitioning and they have an IEP, you can always request from the school to do a visit a few times before you get to that orientation, so they get used to the building and kind of walking in and out and get a little bit more comfortable with that.
That's a great idea. I know we've done that with my youngest. You know, just especially from elementary to that middle school to the high school. And, you know, we literally went to all the classrooms. He has a service animal too. So, you know, make sure the dog, you know, just everything ahead of time, because it's a whole new world when you go from, you know, elementary to middle to high school. It's just, you know, and it could be very scary. So if you prepare ahead of time, that's a great idea, Melissa, and that we did as well.
Even as an adult, for myself, if I have to go somewhere I haven't been before, I will, and it's close enough, like I will go by and see like what road do I need to take, what's that parking lot look like, or whatever, like just so I've seen it one time. You know, I think that even as an adult, that helps me.
Yeah. Well, that and the fact that if they have to use a lock now, a combination lock, if your children have anything like left-right discriminatory issues, like I do, if you can get into the school and if the lock is attached to the locker, let them practice. If they have their own lock at home, practice before there's all that noise and stuff, because, you know, we'll hear about kids carrying all of their books because they can't get into their locker, or kids who can't get into their locker easily. So, you know, maybe they carry more books than they have to because it has to be quiet or they have to concentrate. So, by all, you know, but by all means, let them practice in advance. And Rick Lavoie, my pretend boyfriend, I need to stop calling him that. His wife is going to get nervous. He talks about going to a school, getting called to a school for a kid who was chronically late for every class. And before he even met the kid, he went in and he observed the kid over a course of like a day or 2 days or whatever. And the child was going, teenager was going from every single class back to his homeroom and then to his next class, because he didn't understand the point of homeroom. He thought it was almost like you have to touch base before you could go back again. And no one had explained that. That was part of like this hidden curriculum for him. No one had explained that, no, it's just a place where you go in the morning for them to take attendance and, you know, whatever. And everyone was mad at the kid. You're late for my class, you know, like whatever. And they were like, he should have had enough time. But I mean, thinking about our kids, and sometimes they don't intuit things, really understanding how you're going to get from this class to that class, and if you have time to get from point A to point B. There's a whole bunch of I loved that TV show The Middle, and they had a whole episode once of Sue not being able to get from one class to another, and she would always be late, and then she'd get into trouble. And so I think that that's kind of a really natural thing. And Pearl, I could imagine, with Levi needing to know how to access like an elevator to get to from one place to another, is definitely something that takes a little
Right.
planning.
I know our situation's, a little different because he's in a power chair and a service dog, but it's just that planning ahead for our children. And, a lot of times I would, send a little flyer or an email. This is mainly elementary, because the schools later kind of got to know Levi a little bit more, but, what kind of kiddo am I? Let that teacher, everybody that's going to be like hands-on with my child, let them know what I like, what I don't like, what my, what my challenges are. Even though it might be in the IEP, the art teacher might not have read the IEP, right? The music teacher
The art
might
teacher
not have
didn't read the IEP.
Right. So you want a little something that he can hand, a little flyer, something. It did help too in high school, to be honest. Now that I'm thinking, we did that in high school because, there's 1,000 kids in that building. There's people that have never met him. So that was helpful.
The Pacer Center, PACER, has a really great, people can Google it. It's the Pacer Center Child Snapshot. And it's great. It has a place for a picture with your kid, and you could write what's charming about your kiddo. So like you could, if it doesn't, you don't have to use a particular form, but it's good for you as a parent to be able to reach out to the teachers and communicate that in advance. Like, my kid, and this is what's great about them, and this is where they need a little help. Especially, I would say to parents, your kid doesn't need to have an IEP. They don't need to have a 504 plan. But if your child is struggling with depression or anxiety, it could be really good to let the school know, look, Susie is having a really tough time with anxiety right now. We had this or that situation happen over the summer, and she's really kind of having a tough time. And this is what I find that works. This is my phone number in case you notice anything unusual. By all means, please reach out to me. I'm looking forward to a great year. And it wouldn't hurt if you drop it off in advance with like your favorite candy bar. Teacher's candy bribe.
I think
Any other tips?
I'm thinking about like this time of year for me in the past would be starting to think about getting back on a schedule, bedtimes maybe being different. And we always use the fair because like the fair is this week. So we would start introducing this. But instead of saying like next week, you have to go to bed 3 hours early and get up 10 hours earlier than you do in the morning, we just would start it 1 week at a time. Okay, you get to stay up 2 hours later than your school schedule, and then 1 hour later, and just a half hour later, to where we got to that week of school, instead of like making them feel like they were losing something. I'm like, I'm giving you these extra hours, instead of I'm taking something from you, just to get them to look at it in a little bit of a different way.
When mine were little, we never even got off the school schedule for the summer. Like we just kept on it. But now that I have a 12-year-old that has a complete mind of her own, we're kind of struggling with that. But in years past, they still had to be at bed by 9:30 or 10 o'clock, and they still had to be up by 7, just so that we didn't have a nightmare. Like at the end of the summer, there's just too many. I'm outnumbered. So, but now we're getting into like, attitude-y, independent, older children who will just stay up after I go to bed. So I don't know how that's going to go when we try to get them back on schedule. We got to try that probably soon to get them back in the swing.
And it's hard for them to understand, like, they're the ones that are going to suffer sitting in class, trying to stay awake, being miserable because they didn't really get to wake up and get ready the way they wanted to. Maybe they're going to forget things and not have everything in their book bag. And, it doesn't affect us as much as it actually affects them. So trying to get them to kind of think about, of course they're going to say, I'm fine. I got all the sleep I need.
Another tip from my mom, she played the same spin that Melissa kind of thought about. Your bedtime is X o'clock. If you want to lay in bed and read, you could stay up until 30 minutes after X o'clock. And so it was now, granted, the world was a very, very, very different place, ages ago. But maybe there's a way that you could kind of put that spin on it of, you could listen to your favorite podcast, you could listen to an audiobook, you can listen to music, whatever, but kind of, relax a little bit with the lights a little bit dimmer. And I mean, really, if you even have to, you could do like 30 minutes on TikTok or I don't know, whatever. But give them that. So maybe instead of fighting with them about going to bed at 9:30 or 10 o'clock, maybe you could say, if you know that they're not going to fall asleep until 10:30 anyway, maybe you could say your bedtime is 10 o'clock, but if you want to be in your room, lights out, kind of relaxing for 30 minutes, you could do that until 10:30. I won't bother you. So kind of think maybe about a spin you could do on that. And I will tell you that your kids may want to be kind of cool and may not seem like they're super into it, but they do still, for the most part, enjoy kind of spending time and getting that one-on-one time with you. And so even if they're like in middle school or, a freshman, it's still a good idea to be like, hey, let's read a book together. Why don't you, we'll spend 30 minutes every night and you could show me like your favorite YouTuber, something like that, and go kind of, see if you can kind of cuddle in bed with them and kind of spend that little bit of time to kind of connect and relax.
My kids were always, and they still are, my older boys are 24 and 22 now. I mean, when they come home, like, Mom, can I have a back rub? And that's what we would do before school. Before that mid-August, when they're in bed, I'd rub their back and talk about, hey, and that would give me the opportunity because they can't see me. They're laying there. That gave me the opportunity to just have a nice chat with them. Hey, so what are you thinking about, your soccer season this year? What are you thinking about your physics class? Or, just ease them into that, again, like you said, they're still children. They still sometimes, want to talk to their mom and dad. So I used to love that opportunity when they were just getting ready for bed and just kind of go in there and chat about the week, the day, the school year, that kind of thing.
They're such little angels when they're sleeping. It's a good idea to go in and just get that look and be like, yeah.
Sometimes I dig that elbow into their back. I'd be like, oh. But even now, even my 22-year-old, even now, like he just graduated from college, but he's doing some stuff and, he's like, Mom, rub my back and then we'll talk. So you can use that opportunity in any time, not just back to school stuff. But I remember that vividly happening more so. I would take that opportunity in August and September.
Yeah. Yeah. They like to pretend they're too big for their mom, but you're never too big for your mom.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, parting tips.
I think for mothers and fathers out there, we have a lot of great big ideas for summer. Like we start thinking about it in January, February, and March. And then life takes over and you get so busy. The kids are busy, you're busy, and maybe you didn't get to do the things that you wanted to do this summer. There's still time. No matter what it looks like, have time for your family, even if it's just a day at home and you spend the day together. I don't know, just don't be so hard on yourself because we all have great big plans. And honestly, in this economy, I think it's been very difficult for parents to maybe have that vacation they wanted. Maybe they're going to camp in the backyard or something, or everybody have a sleepover or camp out in the living room. But just having time with your family and the things you didn't get to do, it's okay. Let it go. You can't be so hard on yourself. You're like living real life with real things happening.
And summer does last so much longer than, when school starts. So, you can still do those things in the evening or on the weekends or something. So it's not like that hard stop.
Yeah, don't put so much pressure on yourself. And the guilt that comes with that is hard, right? The guilt of, oh, I kind of failed them. I should have done this. Everybody else is doing this. Why couldn't I? Well, it's okay because not everybody else is doing that. It just might look like they are. Not everybody is doing that. But don't, be not so hard on yourself. And you don't have to, my tip would be, don't go overboard. Don't spend tons of money, in August on those big purchases, because they only need what they need for the first 2 or 3 weeks for September. Then you can always get stuff later.
Yeah.
Chrissy, do you have a tip you want to share?
I think that I'm going to just take all of everyone else's advice and maybe not be so hard on myself and try to enjoy it and not stress, because I've just been beating myself up that I feel like they don't get to do anything fun because of their schedule, my schedule. So I'm not going to beat myself up, and I'm going to try to make plans to do some things once school starts with them. So my tip would be actually just to start shopping now and try to stash as much as you can. I don't have any good emotional tips for anyone at this point, but I do have that one.
But our families that are seeing this need to see that we as their helpers, they're on their team, their FSPs, we struggle with it too. We're in the trenches with them. We have those same thoughts and ideas and concerns. And so that's great. I mean, I'm not happy that you're in that situation, but you're so real, and it.
Oh yeah, that's one thing that I've never been good at, is hiding anything. So like I am just, this is what it is. But that's true. I think we're all kind of in the same boat. Little kids are hard. This time of year is hard. But it gets easier. We always make it through, so it'll be all right. I just feel bad. Like, I just had to shoo one of mine away that came in here and was just staring at me. I have AirPods in, so I didn't hear him coming, and then I just look up and he's looking at me. So,
So I wanted to share that another tip from a teacher is that when the kids go back to school, this is an opportunity where they're seeing some of their friends who they maybe haven't been able to see all summer. When your kiddos are little and they're going back to school, this is a whole new experience for them, eating lunch unsupervised and stuff. And so there's not always an awful lot of time for kids to socialize in their school day. School is like march, packed. So prepare yourself for them to be coming home, starving. And so I think that, especially with school being so busy with after school activities, if your kids are in any kind of sports, marching band, anything like that, make sure that you have some food available for them when they get off the bus. And maybe that kind of takes a little bit of the pressure for dinner off, because they have, a good heavy snack after school. And then maybe they could have listen, pizza's fine the first week of school. Pizza is always the answer.
I was going to say pizza's always fine. That's a perfectly acceptable.
Pizza's always
you
fine.
Cover all the food groups. It's always fine.
Absolutely. So yeah, same thing. Don't be so hard on yourself. Don't be so hard on your kiddos. Back to school. It's a transition time. It's tough for everybody back in the swing of things. We're always here for you. If anybody has any tips to share, we'd love to hear them. Go to our Facebook page. We've been trying to collect family tips all summer long, and just hang in there. We know you can do it. Have a great day, everybody.
Have a great day. Thanks.